Coming up on Beach TV News, raging thunderstorms have battered the southeast. Entire communities are underwater at this hour, and as water rises, so does the death toll. Plus, hundreds of anti-Trump protesters descend upon downtown Long Beach on this President's Day. Our reporter is live on the scene of the Not My President rally with the latest. And it's back! A sigh of relief for many as TikTok makes a comeback on app stores after its temporary ban in the US. All that and more next.
Beach TV News starts now. Welcome to this edition of Beach TV News. I'm Brian Chavez.
And I am Tanisha Bukad. Beach TV News is brought to you by the broadcast journalism students at Cal State Long Beach. We begin tonight with breaking news. As we come on the air tonight, a Delta Airlines flight from Minneapolis has crash-landed and caught fire on the runway at Toronto International Airport. Just take a look at these shocking images coming in. It appears the plane somehow turned upside down. All 76 passengers and 4 crew aboard this jet survived, but at least 21 people were injured and 2 remain hospitalized. Evacuees had to jump several feet from the door frames onto the snow-covered ground as sprays of fire retardant rained overhead. While it is too early to determine a cause, the airport's president says severe weather may be the culprit.
Wow, what a sight. Fortunately, everyone made it out safely. Well, that same weather pattern that dumped several inches of snow in Toronto is also battering the southeast. A blast of Arctic winds is sweeping from the Midwest to the East Coast, bringing heavy rain and taking lives with it. Kentucky's governor has confirmed 13 people are dead, and the number is expected to increase as first responders begin a search and rescue efforts. Unfortunately, similar winds will continue to blow through the eastern half of the country, bringing snow to the Midwest and thunderstorms to the south for the rest of the week.
Meanwhile, back here at home, disastrous mudslides have triggered severe floods and debris flow on Malibu's roads. Streets were forced to close after huge boulders slid down roads in areas that were just devastated by wildfires just weeks ago. A CAL FIRE SUV was swept away by the heavy rain. The firefighters survived with no serious injuries. Officials are working hard to clean up the mud to minimize the damage and allow residents back into the area. PCH remains closed in Pacific Palisades and Malibu.
And now over to the political thunderstorm being felt throughout Washington. From mass federal worker layoffs to stricter immigration enforcement, here's BTN reporter Ivan Ruiz with the latest in politics.
Thanks, Brian. The newly appointed Trump administration has wasted no time in delivering on their campaign promises. Make America Great Again is in full swing, and the results are being felt in every sector.
As part of major cuts in funding, the FAA is reeling from more devastating news. Hundreds of FAA employees were fired just before a busy air travel weekend. This happening just weeks after a fatal mid-air collision in January at Ronald Reagan Washington Airport. The layoffs stem from a string of canceled government programs vetted by Elon Musk's newly structured Department of Government Efficiency. Keeping with the promise of cracking down on illegal immigration, the administration has opted to allocate financial resources from other government agencies and funnel them into the Department of Homeland Security. Effective immediately, the DHS has approved U.S. Immigration and Customs Enforcement officers the leniency to carry out mass immigration raids and checkpoints nationwide. The department has also approved the usage of Guantanamo Bay as a site to quarter the detainees, a prison that is used to house war criminals. President Trump has implemented a 25% tariff price tag on both Mexico and Canada, and has also slapped a 10% tariff on all Chinese imports, which is expected to raise the prices on goods including laptops, toys, fast fashion, and medical appliances. Experts believe these tariffs are part of a complex trade strategy and negotiations tactic aimed at protecting domestic industries, addressing trade imbalances, and exerting political pressures. Mexico's President Claudia Sheinbaum has responded to these tactics with a 25% tariff on all U.S. imports, but since then has brokered a deal with President Trump to halt the tariffs on Mexico for at least the time being.
The dismissal of FAA workers is happening on the heels of two major plane crashes in less than 2 weeks, one in Washington and now this latest crash in Toronto. Brian?
Thanks, Ivan. In response to some of those sweeping government changes you just described, protesters have flocked to several Tesla facilities targeting its well-known CEO. Elon Musk, the newly appointed and unelected head of President Donald Trump's new Department of Government Efficiency, DOGE, is at the center of controversy. Protesters are speaking out against Musk's access to the U.S. Treasury-sensitive data and laying off thousands of federal workers. DOGE has remained under fire and has recently asked for access to the IRS database, fueling concerns over its high level of government oversight.
And the heat tonight isn't just being felt outside Tesla plants. Protesters also descended upon the streets of downtown Long Beach. Our very own BTVN reporter Liz Hanna is live from the scene of what organizers are calling the Not My President protest. Liz?
Since Inauguration Day, protests and rallies have swept through the nation, similar to this one going on behind me by SoCal Uprising. Led by grassroots organizations, 50 protests, 50 states, one movement drew crowds opposing President Donald Trump and the head of DOGE, Elon Musk, on what they called No King's Day and Not My President's Day.
We do not like the president that we have in office. We are against his policies, specifically going against the Constitution and disrespecting all Americans and all of our diverse culture and community that America is all about.
Beginning on the steps of the Long Beach City Hall, the crowd of hundreds with oversight from local police took to the streets.
Into the streets!
Many referenced the Constitution and the flurry of executive orders signed within the first 30 days of Trump's return to the Oval Office.
You know, just about everything, medical research, just about everything you can think of that the government does that's good is going to be destroyed.
While many of the signs pointed at Trump, most appeared to target Musk, urging the unelected official to leave the White House.
Our ability to choose who's in office, that's what makes this nation so inspiring. This is why my parents came to the country seeking that for us. And as a first-generation student, I'm here to stand for that. We, the people, have the power, right?
Protesters spoke out on the end of DEI, mass layoffs throughout the federal government, and immigration.
Let's take back MAGA and instead of make America great again, Mexicans aren't going anywhere. Mexicans ain't going anywhere.
President Trump continues to make sweeping changes during his first 100 days. This is Liz Hanna reporting for BTVN News in Long Beach. Back to you in the studio.
A former NFL player was arrested after protesting at a recent Huntington Beach City Council meeting. Chris Kluwe was protesting the City Council's decision to include the MAGA acronym and a plaque set to be displayed at the Central's City Library. The plaque contains the words magical, alluring, galvanizing, and adventurous in a column spelling out MAGA. Kluwe criticized the council and its support of the movement. Here's the clip of what he had to say and the arrest that followed.
MAGA is profoundly corrupt, unmistakably anti-democracy, and most importantly, MAGA is explicitly a Nazi movement. You may have replaced a swastika with a red hat, but that is what it is. I will now engage in the time-honored American tradition of peaceful civil disobedience.
Kluwe was charged with disturbance of assembly and released from custody 4 hours later. The council members, all 7 of whom are Republican, unanimously voted in favor of the plaque's display.
You know what should be a crime? Egg prices. They are breaking the bank. With prices soaring and stores limiting cartons, customers are scrambling. I took a closer look at what's cracking the market. You know times are tough when this is the most valuable thing in your fridge. Egg prices are soaring, and if you're trying to stock up, well, good luck, because some stores won't even let you buy more than a dozen. So how did we get here? Well, let's crack this mystery wide open. Need eggs? Get in line. Some stores like Trader Joe's are wiped out, and if you find a carton, brace yourself. Prices have gone up recently as the avian flu wipes out millions of hens. For some, just finding eggs feels like winning the grocery store lottery.
But I went to Trader Joe's here the other day and they have no eggs. And I was like, oh, what's going on?
And some say limits make sense, but sky-high prices, that's a whole different story.
I'm okay with the limits. The pricing, I think that's a little bit gouging.
If it's not limits, it's prices. A dozen eggs at Target used to cost $3.89. Now, nearly $9. And for families who rely on eggs daily, that's no joke.
For my brother, at least, like, he's an athlete right now, so he eats probably like 3 to 4 eggs a day. And he's just like had to limit that a lot. So.
Sound familiar? It should. Remember the great toilet paper rush of 2020?
It kind of takes me back to when COVID times, in 2020, when everyone's kind of panicking, kind of like toilet paper where everyone's limited. So it feels like that.
And for some, the egg aisle feels like a grocery run and more like survival of the fittest.
I just think it's kind of absurd because, it's something that you use daily. And to, have to, fight it out Hunger Games style just to get, a cart is kind of, insane.
So, what's next? Experts say prices could keep climbing unless the bird flu gets under control. But until then, whether you're flipping pancakes or making a sunny side up, just know you're working with liquid gold. Reporting from Long Beach, I'm Tanisha Bugad, Beach TV News.
What was once a coastal gem is now an active landslide zone. And as the ground continues to shift in Rancho Palos Verdes, home and roads are at risk. As our reporter Nathaniel Marshall found out, residents and officials are now rethinking the future of the cliffside community.
We're in an active landslide area in Rancho Palos Verdes Historical Landslide Complex, also known as the Portuguese Bend. This landslide complex affects over 100 homes in the area. Let's go to the residents and see how this is impacting their homes.
Neighborhoods have been affected by continuous land shifts resulting in sinking roads and destruction of homes. Here's how one resident of the Bend is dealing with that.
Well, as you can see, it has almost destroyed our mom's home. There is a lot of challenges that come when you have a house that's exposed like this with animals, rodents, things like that, just trying to keep her safe.
Due to lack of city funding, the community has started a movement called Save the Bend to garner more attention from outside entities.
There's no federal funding, there's no city funding. Everybody's on their own here.
The rigid terrain here is caused by the constant landscape movement seen in the area, which urges everyone to tread with caution. According to NASA's map, this land is constantly moving, causing drastic changes in the environment. Here's Long Beach State Professor Dr. Nathan Onderdonk's breakdown on the matter.
Within those sedimentary rocks, there's certain layers that are clay. When you get a little bit of water in there, they tend to really slide easily.
With the shifting of land, it has made driving an increasingly difficult task. Here's what workers are doing to fix the roads.
We're just maintaining the roads so they can get through. This side never slid until, a year ago?
For more information into how you can save the Bend, please visit rpvca.gov.
As you can see behind me, the Portuguese Bend landslide is affecting the neighborhood drastically. And according to NASA, this landslide is moving 4 inches per week and only seems to be getting faster. The future of this neighborhood relies on its fast-moving construction workers in the high morale of this neighborhood. Reporting out of Rancho Palos Verdes, California, my name is Nathaniel Marshall, Beach TV News.
Well, time for a quick break, but up next. Israel's prime minister sets his sights on taking out Iran and asks President Trump for his support. How will this new plan intensify tensions in the region? And sweet revenge for Long Beach State as the men's volleyball team takes on UCLA and defeats them twice. Ouch. BTVN Sports is up next.
I'm an ex-drug dealer, and I'll be your sub today. Can you see anything different as a pill?
No.
You don't know?
Fentanyl is being mixed into everything now. There's only one thing that will save somebody's life. That is naloxone nasal spray.
Fentanyl, it's cheap, it's potent, and it's profitable.
Why would drug dealers put a lethal dose of fentanyl in drugs if they know it's so harmful?
Really just all about the money.
I just didn't realize that one pill could change your whole life.
More kids should know.
I don't remember how it started. Our back and forth. Victory. Fumble. Repeat. It always came back.
Okay, here we go, throw it! Yeah.
You probably don't remember what you told me,
That was perfect.
but I heard every word.
Nice.
Tensions in the Middle East remain high as Israel's prime minister is vowing to work with the U.S. to stop Iran's nuclear ambitions at all costs. In a firm stance against Iran, Benjamin Netanyahu declared that with U.S. President Donald Trump's support, Israel would finish the job and neutralize Iran's threat. U.S. Secretary of State Marco Rubio also echoed this sentiment, calling Iran the force behind terrorism and instability in the region. Meanwhile, Israel continues to targeting Hamas and Hezbollah leaders, with Netanyahu saying Israel has dealt a mighty blow to Iran and a major shift in the U.S. has delivered heavy bombs to Israel after President Trump lifted restrictions.
European leaders held an emergency summit today amid growing concerns that the Trump administration's push to work with Russia has left Ukraine isolated. Here with the story and other world headlines is Liz Hanna.
Since returning to the White House, President Donald Trump has met with both Ukraine's President Volodymyr Zelensky and Russian President Vladimir Putin, working to nail down a peace deal to end the ongoing conflict between the two. But Zelensky says he will not accept what some are calling a dirty deal after finding out that Trump met with Putin first. European leaders are resisting what they see as a one-sided agreement as they're left without a seat at the table along with Ukraine. Putin's statement after the call focused on eliminating the root causes of the conflict, words that serve to feed Ukraine's distrust of the negotiations.
I urge you, President Trump, leave us alone and let us live.
Similar words were heard around the world as Palestinians spoke out after President Trump doubled down on his plan to take Gaza, making it the Riviera of the Middle East. Trump called on the nearby countries of Jordan and Egypt to take in the more than 2 million Palestinians from the war-torn land. Jordan's King Abdullah II, in a concession made in an Oval Office meeting, agreed to take 2,000 sick children from Gaza, possibly paving the way for more proposals. Some descendants of Palestinians ousted in 1948 during the formation of Israel are determined to rebuild their homeland and are doubling down on their plans to stay. And astronomers have made an alarming discovery. Asteroid 2024 YR4, measuring up to 290 feet wide, is shooting towards Earth at over 38,000 miles per hour. Recent data shows that the odds of an impact in 2032 have increased to 2.2%. And complicating monitoring efforts, the space rock will be out of sight for about 3 years during its orbit, reappearing in 2028.
An international hockey matchup headline an exciting week in sports. Here's Bruce Kuntz with more.
Thanks, Brian. There's a lot to cover in the world of sports. We've got a heated international hockey rivalry, a new superstar's first 2 games with the Lakers, and a top-ranked college basketball face-off.
The United States and Canada went head-to-head in the Four Nations hockey tournament. The game was immediately intense with 3 fights in the first 9 seconds. Once play was able to get going, Canada took the first lead on a slick backhanded goal from Edmonton Oilers forward Connor McDavid. The United States tied it up then took a second period lead on a wrister from Red Wings forward Dylan Larkin. The Americans held the lead for the rest of the way, beating their rivals to the north 3-1. Slovenian superstar Luka Doncic played his first 2 games as a Los Angeles Laker this week. Doncic headed west after a shocking trade brought the point guard to the Lakers from the Dallas Mavericks. The Lakers played a home and away against the Utah Jazz, winning in Los Angeles on Monday before hitting the road for Wednesday's matchup. Luka pulled off some highlight reel plays, including a pair of behind-the-back assists. He finished the game with 16 points, 4 rebounds, and 4 assists. Rui Hachimura was the Lakers' leading scorer with 19 points. However, the Lakers struggled as a team in this game, losing 131-119 as Jazz forward Lauri Markkanen went off for 32 points. Staying in the basketball world, UCLA and USC faced off in women's hoops on Thursday. Juju Watkins was a star for the Trojans, scoring 38 points while adding 11 rebounds and 8 blocks. USC jumped ahead early, but UCLA fought back into the lead in the second half. However, USC made a comeback of their own, handing the top-ranked Bruins their first loss of the season. The Trojans outscored the Bruins 24-8 in the fourth quarter, improving to 23-2 on the season. We can all hope as sports fans that these two teams will meet again in the Big Ten tournament.
The exciting action for all 3 of those sports will continue this week, but Luka and the Lakers will have a short break while All-Star festivities take place. And speaking of the NBA All-Star Game, it debuted a new format over the weekend. All-Star Weekend in San Francisco was arranged into a tournament with 4 teams competing for the victory. Inside the NBA hosts Shaquille O'Neal, Charles Barkley, and Kenny Smith all drafted teams of All-Stars. It was O'Neal and Barkley's squads that faced off in the final game, with the first team to 40 taking the win. Shaq's team, which featured veteran NBA stars like Steph Curry and Kevin Durant, came out on top, and Curry was named the MVP of the All-Star Game while playing in his home arena. Long Beach State men's volleyball is on a roll this season. They took on fellow volleyball royalty UCLA in back-to-back games. Our reporter, James Grech, was on the sidelines for all the action.
In the first meeting of back-to-back games, number 1 ranked Long Beach State beat number 3 ranked UCLA to avenge their loss in last year's national championship. Freshman setter Moni Nikolov and junior opposite hitter Skylar Varga led the way. Varga had 12 kills while Nikolov added 35 assists and 7 aces. After splitting the first 2 sets, the Beach took charge, winning the match 3-1 in front of a sold-out crowd of over 4,000 at Walter Pyramid. After the game, Long Beach State head coach Alan Knipe expressed his appreciation for the large fan turnout.
It was a great atmosphere, and I really appreciate the effort that went into it, and of course all the people that came out.
It's those same fans that traveled to Pauley Pavilion for the second game against UCLA. Long Beach student Larissa Samano was thrilled to see the matchup in person.
I'm so excited, super excited. I wasn't able to go to the home game on Friday, and I knew this was going to be a really big matchup, so I didn't want to miss it.
The Beach emerged victorious once again, defeating the Bruins 3-0, firmly establishing themselves as the number 1 team in the nation. Moni Nikolov had another standout performance, leading the game with 34 assists. He also added 7 kills. However, it was Long Beach's defense getting the job done in this one. Nikolov also led the game in blocks with 3, and despite the losses, UCLA student John Pham believes the team will rebound and meet Long Beach State again at some point down the road.
I mean, as for tournament run, I feel like, just continue to have faith in our team. We're back-to-back champions for a reason, but I think we might have a chance to, at least get into the tournament and then hopefully play for the championship.
After defeating UCLA in 2 straight games, Long Beach State sits at 10-0. With 18 games left to play, the shared sentiment is the Beach seems primed to make a deep tournament run and potentially claim their 4th national championship in school history. It's been over 5 years since Long Beach last won it in 2019. Reporting from outside Pauley Pavilion in Los Angeles, James Grech, Beach TV News.
James now joins us in the studio. Welcome.
Thanks, Bruce.
Alan Knipe's squad bulldozed UCLA in those 2 matches. Number 2 UC Irvine still remains on the schedule, but do you see anything getting in the way of this dominant Beach team?
UC Irvine will certainly pose a challenge to Long Beach. They're a top 2 team in the nation for a reason, and it'll be a must-watch matchup. But the general feeling I got from those UCLA games is that nothing is getting in the way of this Long Beach squad and the national championship. And it wasn't just Long Beach fans saying that. UCLA fans were highly complimentary of this year's Long Beach team. Some even predicted that if UCLA and Long Beach State were to play for the title again this season, they would go with Long Beach to take the win. That's some serious praise from a rival school.
Thanks, James. Well, that does it for us at BTVN Sports. Now back to you guys at the news desk.
Time for a quick break, but up next.
From YouTuber to business owner, Emma Chamberlain opens up her first coffee shop in LA, and our reporter takes you inside. Plus, 50 years in the making, SNL is celebrating its 50th anniversary with an all-star cast. Those stories up next.
If you're buzzed and doing this, to make yourself feel okay to drive,
ZWX.
you're not okay to drive.
YGKLVW.
Multiple studies have shown that marijuana can slow both driver reaction and response time, which can be really dangerous. He's here. He's here. Wait. What?
I can't drive.
Why?
My.
Oh.
Welcome back. NBC Saturday Night Live just turned 50 and they celebrated with a 3-hour episode, oddly enough, on a Sunday. It was a fun throwback at the show's most iconic sketches featuring some of the biggest names in entertainment. Sabrina Carpenter and Paul Simon kicked things off with a duet of Homeward Bound. And the music didn't stop there. Miley Cyrus, Lil Wayne, and Sir Paul McCartney all took to the stage. But the real showstopper? The star-studded lineup. Kim Kardashian, Scarlett Johansson, Tom Hanks, and plenty more made appearances. Meryl Streep even made her SNL debut with Kate McKinnon. Comedy legends like Adam Sandler, Eddie Murphy, Will Ferrell, and Tina Fey also returned for the historic night. Now that's what I call an all-star cast.
It was a great show for sure. Our reporter Cynthia is here with some exciting updates, including TikTok's surprise comeback on app stores and a historical nomination for the iconic Mexican band, Maná. Cynthia?
Here's the latest on A$AP Rocky's case, the historical achievement of Spanish-language rock band Maná, and TikTok being back on the App Store and Google Play Store.
A$AP Rocky is found not guilty after being accused of firing a gun at his former friend Tero Efron near a Hollywood hotel back in 2021. Rocky faced 2 felony counts of assault with a semi-automatic firearm. When Los Angeles County prosecutors proposed a plea deal, Rocky declined, taking onto the risk to be convicted and serving 24 years in prison. The jury, consisting of 7 women and 5 men, found him not guilty through an anonymous decision after several weeks of trial. After the decision was announced, Rocky expressed, "Thank you y'all for saving my life." Now, A$AP Rocky, without worries, can continue to prepare for his studio album, Don't Be Dumb. Among other law-related news, TikTok has now returned to the App Store and Google Play Store, making it available to download. Apple and Google fear on being fined after the app was banned. On January 18, the app suspended its services in the US for a few hours. When President Trump went into office, he signed an executive order extending the ban till April 5th. The app had raised national security concerns among lawmakers, and ByteDance was asked to sell the app to an American-owned company. Apple and Google were assured by the Justice Department that they would not be fined for having TikTok. Now, nearly 170 million US users await on what the future holds for TikTok. On more exciting news, the Mexican band Maná has historically become the first Spanish-language rock band to be nominated for the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame. They have won 4 Grammys, performed around the world, and sold many albums. They are among 13 other nominees, some being Black Crowes, Mariah Carey, and Billy Idol. Nominees are qualified 25 years after releasing their first commercial recording, and Maná reaching this achievement is great news for all generations that grew up with their music and a pathway for other Hispanic musicians.
Wow, Spanish language artists are truly breaking boundaries and showing new generations that hard work pays off. What an inspiration. Now back to you guys at the news desk.
moms and midwives have been left in the dark after Long Beach Birth Center suddenly closes doors. What does this mean for the community? Reporter Lindsay Tolles is here to shed some light on the situation.
I knew instantly, I just got a bad feeling about them going out of business, and I was just like, oh, I bet we're gonna have a hard time getting our money back.
That was mom-to-be Cheyenne Berry. She had put down a $2,000 deposit for services at the Long Beach Birth Center only a week before owner Meredith Bowling shut it down on January 1st.
The closure of the Long Beach Birth Center behind me has resulted in dozens of women and employees out of thousands of dollars and wondering what's next.
Since its closure, dozens of women have come forward saying their care was abandoned after paying over $8,000 for full services. Several have filed small claim suits against Bowling.
Seeing all of these other girls, I was like, okay, we're not dumb, That's the part that I think was the most disappointing, because even though it was for a very short amount of time, I just had this vision of having just a really supportive place to have that birth.
Employees were also left in the dark. Midwives say they had repeated issues with cashing their paychecks in the weeks leading up to the closure, receiving no salary for almost a month.
We were looking on to hire a whole new salaried midwife. So I was thinking if we're hiring someone, we haven't let anyone go. Obviously we're still trying to book more clients, but I had no idea that we would hire someone that we had no ability to pay.
Weber has since filed with the state's labor commission hoping to get their paycheck, living on unemployment. Bowling has since filed for bankruptcy and has not responded to Beach TV's request for comment. Reporting in Long Beach, I'm Lindsay Tolles.
Thanks, Lindsay. Well, what started as a YouTuber with a relatable caffeine addiction has turned into a $1 million coffee company. Beach TV News reporter Victoria Franco takes us on a tour of this brewing success.
I'm here in Century City, standing outside of Chamberlain Coffee that just opened up this past month. And as you can see, people are already lining up to get a taste of the goodness.
What started as an online business in 2019 has officially come to life in the Westfield Mall of Century City. Owner of the business, Emma Chamberlain, is a 23-year-old business owner, American model, podcaster, and most notably, a YouTuber.
I saw her first video on YouTube, so I've been long time stan. I feel like I've been following her for a long time, and I've just been waiting for her to open a coffee shop because I knew it was going to happen. And I'm so excited that I got to go because, look, it's so cute. I just feel like she decorated really well.
Chamberlain regularly brought up her caffeine addiction in vlogs, and what once began as a relatable obsession has now turned into a $20 million coffee company.
The rushes have been bad, but since we don't have a lot of space inside the coffee shop, it doesn't feel like it to us. All we see is the line. So inside, we kind of just deal with whoever's in front of us and just try and have them get in and out, and it's not too bad.
Chamberlain created the coffee company at just 19 years old and has partnered with over 8,000 retailers to sell her products, including Target, Walmart, and Erewhon. The coffee shop offers a variety of coffee and tea, as well as pastries with drinks ranging from $5 up to $10.
I got the cream top and the syrup, so yeah, $10 before tip is a little expensive.
The business is open daily from 8 a.m. to 9 p.m. throughout the week and until 10 on the weekends.
Reporting from Century City, this is Victoria Franco, Beach TV News.
Just goes to show you that anything is possible.
I totally agree, Brian. And we end tonight with a reunion 8 years in the making. Wow.
A Phoenix man is overjoyed after being reunited with his pup 8 years after he lost him on a cross-country road trip. Here's the heartfelt images.
Damien, come on, puppy. This little guy was my little everything.
Paul Gilbeau has owned Damien, this mini Doberman, since he was 6 months old.
Bless you.
Paul was all Damien knew.
Where are we going now, buddy? Oh, buddy, loves the butt scratches.
But the two got separated during a pit stop in Oklahoma City when they were on a cross-country trip from Massachusetts, moving to Arizona.
And he broke off his leash and just kept running.
Paul searched hours on end for a full week around OKC.
Literally the minute I knew I wasn't going to catch him, I thought the worst from the minute that happened.
He hung these signs up, posted online, and joined hundreds of Facebook groups but nothing.
After 8 days, my dad said, we've run out of money. We were in the U-Haul, which we were renting. And eventually the talk came up like, hey, we have no more money to do this anymore.
Now, fast forward 8 years, Paul is on his way to donate clothing to the wildfire victims in California when his phone blew up with calls and text messages.
The preview said, your dog Damien has been found.
Paul says a woman in OKC nearly hit Damien. She took him into the vet who scanned his microchip, and Paul's information came up.
So we were there in about 13 hours.
Hey, did you miss us?
It was a reunion, 8 years in the making.
We're gonna get you a steak after this, buddy.
One Paul thought may never happen.
I wish we could swap stories because I got a lot to tell him. He's missed out on a lot, and I'm sure he's got a lot to tell me. Damien.
The two now catching up on life.
What are you doing, Hambone? Adventures, cuddles, snuggles.
Damien has new brothers and sisters.
You gonna run with us?
And a family who loved and missed him.
We're really glad you're back, buddy.
Aw, now that is truly man's best friend.
Yeah, no kidding. He's such a good boy. He deserves a lifetime of treats.
I totally agree. And on that note, we end this edition of Beach TV News. I'm Tanisha Bukad.
And I'm Brian Chavez. Remember, you can be a part of the conversation. Head over to our social apps, Beach TV News, and let us know what you think about tonight's stories.
From all of us at BTVN, good night, Long Beach.